Hi guys, welcome. I'm Felicity from Felicity the Power Within. This is 11 Minutes with Felicity. Thank you for joining in. Today we have an astrologer here because, of course, this series should have an astrologer around. So here is Dana. Hi Dana, very nice meeting you and thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. This is such an honor to be a part of this beautiful project that you've got going on.
Thank you very much. So Dana is an astrologer and I really want to know, Dana, what excites you in your work? This is a question I ask everybody because people need to find excitement in their work because you do this as a passion. This is your passion. So I'm really curious about that.
Yes. So I practice Western astrology or tropical astrology, and there's all different kinds. So I always like to preface that so people kind of know which direction I work with. But it excites me because I really feel like, everything is energy. We are energy, our thoughts, our feelings, everything is energy, as well as the planets where we live here on Mother Earth, the stars, everything is impacting us in an energetic way. And when we can understand ourselves and the way energies are moving through us and coming at us in our daily lives, it allows us to find more ease and flow in life, right? We can work through things a little bit easier when we know what's coming up or why things feel a certain way. So I really love to use astrology for that purpose. It's also a predictive tool. So you can get an idea of what potential energies are coming at you. Is it going to be a difficult time? Is it going to be an easy time? And then working with my clients to figure out tips and tricks on how to kind of move through that as gracefully as possible to learn our lessons and to grow as souls as we need to.
I know we have a super full moon actually going on this month. So I really wanted to ask you about that and to ask you to elaborate more on the subject.
Oh my gosh, yes. We have a full moon, once a month, every 28 days, the moon makes its cycle around the earth. And we know that a full moon is when the moon is opposite the sun. So generally for full moons, if you think of the moon as being a beautiful, bright flashlight or a spotlight in the sky, it's shining a light in a particular area of our lives, both collectively and personally for each individual as well, in a slightly different way. But we can get into that later. But collectively, we'll talk about that today, in that it's shining a light in a place that needs attention. So it's all about full moons in general, all about giving gratitude for our manifestations, anything we're trying to create in life. It's also a beautiful time to release anything that's not serving us, because that spotlight is going to shine into areas that we need to either let go of or that need more nurturing and care. So it's important to know that in general for moons, full moons. Now, this is a super moon. And what does that mean? So a super full moon essentially means that it's happening when it's in its closest proximity to the Earth in its elliptical orbit. So it's going to be really close to Earth, which makes it look really big in the sky. And that has an even more intense energetic feel for us as humans living on Earth, right? So the moon, we see how the moon impacts tides and gravity and seasons. So of course it impacts our bodies as well. If we think of the human body being 60 to 70% water, we're also impacted by that full moon too. So it's going to be really close to Earth, which adds another level of intensity to it. Now, this particular full moon is in the sign of Scorpio, with the sun opposite in the sign of Taurus. And this allows us, these oppositions allow us a chance to bring things into balance. Scorpio representing our emotional side of things, our psychic intuitive side, and Taurus representing our physical world, our bodies, our, bringing into reality. So it's a lot of this balance of bringing our intuitive natures into balance into our reality of our physical lives. So it's a really highly psychic moon. It's a really highly intuitive moon. It's all about, Scorpio energy is all about uncovering truths at their deepest level. and it's transformative truths, right? So it can be things that we don't know about ourselves or haven't thought about or haven't given attention to. It's a beautiful healing moon for that reason. So we can kind of do our inner work and go within. I know you had someone on this show previously talking about shadow work. So it's a great time to kind of go and explore those internal shadow sides of ourselves and really bring them into the light for healing. Beautiful support for that piece of it. We talk about it's a moment with the opposite being the sun in Taurus, opposite. It's shining lights and uncovering truths in our physical world as well. So the potentials of things that can come up are anything in the financial markets, anything with weather patterns and Mother Earth, because that is, Taurus is an earth sign representing our physical world. Agriculture, our food supply also impacted there. And Taurus also represents our values, what we value in ourselves, our self-worth, as well as values in general for us. Do I value my friends and family? Do I value work? All of those things. So it's shining a light to uncover truths in those areas. So it could be something like maybe I need to, rebalance my financial spending, or it could be a lot deeper and healing self-worth wounds in that way. So it's an exciting time in that respect. We have a lot of other players, so it's not just the sun and the moon having a conversation at this time. We have Uranus, the planet of surprises and excitement and rebellion, happening at the same time. It's conjunct the sun at this point. We have Venus and Mercury also in Taurus. So there's a lot of conversation here about our physical life, our physical worlds, and what we're here to do and our purpose moving through those. So those are a couple other things to think about. Now, when we talk about and consider, your different signs, cardinal versus fixed, these are fixed signs. And the sun and the moon are making what we call a T-square to Saturn. And a square is often an aspect that is challenging us to grow and to learn a lesson. And Saturn is ruling time, it rules seasons, it rules work. So when we think of that, the Saturn square is asking us to pause. This year is taken off like a flash, and time seems to be moving really quickly right now. And this moment, the 26th, the 27th of April, is a time for us to pause and reflect inward and kind of go within and do a little bit of that shadow work and bring awareness to how we want to move forward in the world and sort of just sit with it a little bit, which sometimes can feel frustrating, but those fixed signs want to sort of sit with things a minute. You can't be forced to move. There's a stubbornness in that, right? So there's a moment there where we need to just take a pause and think things through before taking action. So that's another good tip for this particular full moon. In general, I love to put together release lists. So anything that comes up for me that I feel like is no longer serving me in the areas of Taurus or Scorpio, but really any area of your life, there aren't those kinds of strict rules. So anything that comes up for you as you're sort of sitting in the silence, write it down, burn it, release it, whatever that looks like. I like to do a little burn ceremony, and I like to light things up on fire because I'm a fire sign, so I can't help it. As far as other tips to look through or to, move through this moon with a little bit more ease, definitely spend some time in silence and quiet. If you like to meditate, that's a great thing to do. Even if you don't meditate, just don't turn on the radio, don't put on the TV, just kind of sit with some silence for a little while and see what comes up for you. I love to direct people when it comes to finding grounding, because this can be a highly charged emotional moon and a lot of stuff can come up that you weren't expecting. It's really important to stay grounded throughout this. And so I like to say, if you are a dominant earth sign, so your sun sign, moon, or rising sign is an earth, put your bare feet in the ground, sit on the earth, lay on the ground if you have to. Those are really ways to recharge your energy and to help you feel centered. If you're a water sign, your sun sign, moon, rising, spend time in or near water. And that can be a lake, it can be the ocean, a river, it can also be your bathtub. I don't live near water, so sometimes I just have to get in my bathtub, and that works too, because that's really going to help, again, feel centered. If you're an air sign, I love breath work. And there's lots of different kinds, and you can search the internet and find all kinds of slews of techniques for breath work, but also speaking things out loud. If you say what you're ready to release out loud, that has a very powerful effect for air signs. And then fire signs, again, I like to light things on fire. So that also could mean spending time in the sunlight, because the sun is a big gaseous ball of fire. So allowing that sun to kind of charge our solar plexus and spend some time outdoors that way. Or again, anything with a candle, fireplace, fire pit, anything that you have nearby that you can also use to really, burn your release list as well. So those are some of my favorite things for people to understand, and connecting with their own signs within their own natal chart, their own birth chart, and understanding those can help you like really feel grounded in a way to move through these highly emotional times, and also help sort through some of the shadow side and the inner work that comes up. Really helps us to sort through that too. One additional tip to think through is that because a lot of emotions can come up during a full moon, it's really best to, again, like I said, spend some time in silence, do things that feel like self-care for you, whatever feels nurturing, whatever feels good. There can be a lot of rebellious energy that comes up. There can be some anger and frustration that comes up. So I always recommend, be careful with your loved ones, be careful with your interactions with other people, so that you don't say things you don't really mean, or do things that you might regret later on because you were emotionally charged at that time. So I always just recommend anything that's self-care, and it's okay to feel frustrated. It's okay to feel angry and rebellious in all those ways. It's just more of this pause to think before we act kind of moment. So whether that's take a breath, count to 5, whatever that looks like for each person.
Great. Thank you, Dana, for being here, and I cannot wait to have you more on 11 Minutes with Felicity.
Thank you so much. This is just such an honor for me, and I am so happy to share whatever anyone needs at this point. So any questions you have, I cannot wait to come back and talk more, because there's a lot happening in the stars this year.
That's great. You will find Dana's Instagram account on this video, so hop on. Thank you.